As a franchise, The Legend of Zelda has given us a lot over the years. Unforgettable experiences, empowering triumphs and crushing setbacks, and of course, absolutely beloved characters. From Midna to Impa to Girahim to Groose, I think, and the titular princess herself, our hearts have been captured innumerable times by their stories. But few, it seems, have had the immediate and lasting impact that Raru's left on the series. But why is that, exactly? Well, you see, it's actually very simple. Because you're all furries. The end. Okay, I'm only kidding. Mostly. In all seriousness, there's actually a lot that goes into making Raru as likable as he is. From his design, to his role in the story, to his choice of EA, to... Oh god! It's okay, Bororaru isn't real and can't hurt you. Baru? Right. So, as a longtime Zelda fan and a writer, I wanted to go over how our beloved Zonai King is presented in-game and attempt to articulate exactly what it is that made him an instant favourite. Basically, all of it can be sorted into the categories of character design and narrative influence, which will be the two sections of this video. And while I'm primarily a writing-focused individual, I'm also lucky enough to have a friend who understands art and character design better than most. So this essay is written in part by my good friend and fantastic artist, K-Space Prince Art. Give their work a look, link in the down under. That said, spoilers ahead for the very start of the game, the end of the final boss fight, and most of the Dragon Tears. And with that out of the way, let's start with his design. Raru has a rather striking form that immediately sets him apart from any other member of the cast. The Legend of Zelda as a series has always embraced androgyny in character design, most often in Link, so it's no shock to see that such a beautiful man is a fan favourite, with sleek features, long lashes, and his incredibly long and voluminous hair. Of course, the first thing that catches the player's eye would probably be his ears, huge, heavy and fuzzy as they are, along with the 5 tasseled earrings that hang from each one. The slight droop his ears have also work to give him a bit of a friendlier vibe, making him appear unthreatening and even somewhat cute. Kay mentioned that his ears are a cross between those of a rabbit and an elf, which demonstrates his ties to Hylians like Zelda, but remain different enough to help him stand out as a mythical hero. Though these features are what initially draw the eye, you can find even more appeal upon closer inspection. Raru's form is very slight, almost ethereal even. He appears almost elfish, similarly to his wife Sonia, but his animal features set him further apart, and these work to improve his appeal at first glance as well. He also has a solid set of abs, though they're only really visible in the official art. Raru possesses Caprian features, and a side note, if you think the features are more analogous to a different animal, that's cool. It's not really the point, but feel free to comment down below what animal you think fits the best. And he has a sort of general fuzzy look to him, a character design choice that appeals to a wide range of people. He's also really tall, absolutely towering over every other member of the cast, save for Ganondorf, for whom his appearance is directly designed to contrast, but more on that a little later. Overall, his body provides an image of comfort and reliability, overall softness mixing incredibly well with his few sharper angles. In my mind, Raru is shaped like a friend. Of course, we can't really talk about his body without talking about what he puts on it, because his clothing actually helps to signify his power and otherworldly nature. Looking at his official art and in-game model, everything Raru wears is entirely ornamental, from his aforementioned tassel piercings to his shawl-like top connected by a jade mask, to the great amount of jewellery he wears. Raru is dressed like a royal, albeit a far different royalty than seen anywhere else in the series. And in the Zelda series, as well as in human history, a connection is often drawn between royalty and divinity, which fits because Raru is both a king and one of the Zonai, a people who are allegedly direct descendants of the gods. His clothing is almost ceremonial in appearance, with triangles shaped from triangles within triangles, copious amounts of gold and jewellery, and rather intricate bangles on his arms. In another series, we would expect this sort of outfit to be attached to a powerful cleric or mage type character, which fittingly Raru is. Just his clothing alone gives the impression of someone with a great amount of mysterious, non-physical power, which we definitely get to see in the Dragon Tear memories. Another integral part of character design is colour. Raru's body is primarily white, blue and grey, which are cool, calming colours and, being close together in the colour wheel, are considered harmonious. This fits his personality, being a calm, supportive and friendly person, but somewhat melancholy and naive as well. In contrast, Raru's clothing acts to enhance our perception of his power. Purple and gold make up the majority of his outfit, both of which are traditionally associated with power, royalty, and divinity. But on top of all this, Raru's design is displayed most critically in its comparison to the other characters, primarily Sonia and Ganondorf. Speaking of Sonia, the two are visually very strongly tied together, which makes perfect sense as they're both the founders of Hyrule, as well as husband and wife. Not only do their eyes, ears, and general colour schemes echo each other, but they have matching facial markings and paint. Note the tear shapes, possibly a reference to the Eye of Truth motif? They have very similar hairstyles, and Sonia's circlet even matches the placement of his horns and third eye, which naturally grant him the image of a crown as befitting for a king. Also, as Kay noted to me, a third eye is a little on the nose for a character with great non-physical power, but things are symbols for a reason. Arguably, however, the most important aspect of his design is in how it matches the narrative and how it conflicts with Ganondorf's. While both are tall as befitting their power, they remain incredibly distinct due to their colours and silhouettes. In sharp contrast to Raru, Ganondorf has a primarily red and green colour scheme, contrasting colours symbolic of a hot temper, conflict, and, most importantly for his characterization in this game, ambition. And while both wear gold, Ganondorf's is more deliberately placed. A crown on his head, a singular and spectacular necklace, and his armlets/bracelets, as well as on his sword. The gold on his body serves two purposes, to mark him as royalty, or to emphasize his muscles and weapon, which are symbols of power and strength on their own. His clothing is designed to emphasize physical power, and aside from the gold, is function over form. Ganondorf is the warrior archetype to Raru's mage. As a small side note, Raru and Ganondorf also perfectly contrast each other by the rules of shape language technique, but I'm going to leave that alone for now. It's a surprisingly deep study, and I feel like just dipping my toes in it for the sake of this video won't really do it justice, so I'll link to some people who will do a much better job than me under the video as well. Show them some love. Finally, and this is something I genuinely didn't notice until Kay brought it up, but there's a really cool side effect of Raru's mostly neutral colour scheme that sort of allows him to be very expressively lit in major scenes without ever losing his recognizability. In interesting contrast, Ganondorf's colours make him easier to shroud, which really fits this particular incarnation of the King of Thieves, who I honestly found to be the most intimidating. Ganondorf is made to intimidate, and Raru is made to reassure, even at the most basic of fundamentals. It's a sign of, honestly, fantastic character design, so gargantuan props to Nintendo for the work on this one. It's such a fucking good game. Two things remain irretrievable: time and first impressions. When I think of Raru, this quote from American author Cynthia Ozick comes to mind, because lost time is a major theme in both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, something Raru is all too familiar with. On the other hand, Raru makes one of the best first impressions in any Zelda game, and it's thanks in part to this that he remains so prominently in our minds throughout the game, as well as to why he stands out as well as he does in general. I want to take a moment to watch that first scene with him again, to refresh us all on how that first impression goes. I've split it into two parts to better analyse his impact. Here's part one now.
Link, finally you wake. I've heard a great deal about you from Zelda. Your wounds were severe. I am relieved to see you escape death. Your arm, however, was beyond saving. I had to replace it, lest the injury endanger you further.
Immediately, before we ever see him, Raru is working to reassure us. He's happy to see us alive and well, and he reveals a connection to Zelda, who we'd naturally be worried about at this point. He even reveals that he saved Link's life, addressing not only the question of injury, but giving context to the change in Link's body that would otherwise have been more upsetting. His voice also has a soothing quality to it. We can feel what kind of person he is through sound alone, and it really helps to calm the player after the intensity of the last scene. Although we first hear his voice upon waking, and technically only see him for the first time after traversing the starting island and finding the Temple of Time, his presence is felt as early as the first trailers of the game. Raru's hand is what holds dehydrated Ganondorf's body aloft, and upon starting the game, it's also what saves Link from falling into the pit after Zelda vanishes into time travel sparkles, though the significance can't really be understood until later. In part 2 of his first impression, we're finally able to put a face to the voice. Here's the clip now.
That door will open only to those with sufficient power. I'm sorry. I did not intend to startle you. It was I that spoke to you earlier. That arm originally belonged to me. I am Rauru. Forgive me for appearing to you in this manner. Unfortunately, I no longer have a physical form. In any case, that arm should allow you to open this door. It seems to have lost the power to do so. You might be able to restore it, but you would need to enter a place filled with sacred light. Of course. Why not visit the shrines on this island? The shrines. Yes, I'm sure they are the key.
Once again, Rauru offers immediate reassurances. Link fails to open the door and Rauru offers us an explanation. He then introduces himself and this is where his character design comes into play, instantly communicating his unthreatening nature. We actually see Link drawing the connection between his new arm and this mysterious stranger, something the player themselves would actually be doing at this point. What's more, Rauru offers even further reassurances by apologizing and explaining that he lacks a physical form, seeking to make Link more comfortable. Finally, he offers an explanation and solution to Link's problem, guiding him to the Zonai shrines and firmly establishing his role in the story. Narratively speaking, Rauru serves as a sort of mentor figure, much in the way that King Rhoam did in Breath of the Wild, though he takes a more active role in your recovery. He also makes a better father figure than Rhoam ever did, actively guiding you around the island and granting you the hand powers himself. Oh, and let's not forget that he replaced your arm and saved your fucking life. Sorry. Anyways, it's through this and small interactions around the floating island that we come to know what kind of person he is. Or, was. Rauru is a kind and selfless man, a born nurturer. He saves Link's life, replaces Link's corrupted arm with his own, and gives him the tools he needs to not only get back on his feet, but also to solve future problems, and he does it without asking anything in return, or promising you a glider and then tugging you around like a fucking troll. Rhoam, you piece of shit, Dad! Anyway... Melancholy and nostalgia are also large aspects of his characterization here. Rauru is a man full of regrets. His failure to stop Ganondorf or save Sonia or even be able to tell you what happened to Zelda all weigh on him. And you can hear that in his voice and see it in his posture. He looks like there's a weight constantly pressing down on him. What's more, he laments the state that the constructs have been left in, eternally fulfilling duties for a people that just do not exist anymore. When exploring the starting island, there are times that you'll find him waiting around, clearly lost in thought. It's during these times that you can listen to him reminisce about how things used to be, how the Garden of Time was once so full of life and people, how the Bell of Time, this place is really big on time, I'm sure you're realizing, was used to mark the start and end of the day, on how beautiful it sounded, and how it was used in important ceremonies. Rauru says that seeing the constructs toiling away grieves him, but it's clear that he grieves the world he lost as well. And like Link did in Breath of the Wild, he's forced to come to terms with that loss. There's no changing the past, you can only move forward and strive to create a better future. Leave behind a world that was better for you having been there. Finally, we know Rauru is a man with great faith in others. He fully believed Zelda when she claimed that Link would be able to stop Ganondorf. He believed that she and his sister could take care of the kingdom without him, and he puts his trust in you and expends what little time and power he has left to pick you back up and send you on your way after you get all of your strength from the first game sandblasted off. And it's this faith in others that allows him to sacrifice himself to steal Ganondorf, which, though not directly stated at this point, can be inferred through context. He plays his role as guide incredibly well, to the point where it feels like a genuine loss when he finally fades away, his face clearly showing that he wishes he could have helped us more. It's a powerful moment and it genuinely made me tear up a bit. When I first started, I really hoped Rauru would be our new companion character, and I know I'm not the only one, and he is genuinely missed as you leap from the island at the start of your journey proper. So it's pretty great when you get to see him again. Yeah, Nintendo really managed to pull one over on us. All this time we thought he was our guide, and he was. It was just more of a, part-time job. His real role in the story is to be a wonderfully tragic father figure for Zelda. It was actually a pretty masterful decision. See, they clearly wanted a memory mechanic like they had in the first game, but they couldn't do Link's memories this time. He got them all back in the last one. So instead, they gave us Zelda's memories, and it's here that we get to the real meat of Raru's story. To make a long story short, because this video isn't about Zelda, her disappearance from the story at the start of the game was her accidentally traveling far way back in time, thanks to the amplification effect of the secret stone she picked up. It's in this distant past that she meets Rauru and Sonia, and it's from there that the story behind Tears of the Kingdom truly begins. What's interesting is that Rauru doesn't act as Zelda's mentor like we might expect him to. That role is filled by Sonia, with Rauru mainly working to make her feel as comfortable as possible. He has this sort of awkward new dad energy that's honestly really cute. He's obviously not quite sure how to connect with her just yet, so he offers to take her to people who could, which echoes his relationship with Link. We also get a good look at his relationship with his wife, and it's clear how much he cares for her, looking at her when she speaks and seeking approval when offering Zelda aid. He also trusts her judgment, instantly taking it as fact when she tells him that she can sense both their powers within Zelda. They have quite the healthy relationship, and they both serve as surrogate parental figures to Zelda, offering her support and guidance in the way that her birth mother couldn't and her birth father wouldn't. It honestly works really well. Everything we talked about in his design comes into play here, his personality fitting his look to a T. Well, almost everything. Remember how I said he had the look of someone with incredible non-physical power? Well, we get a good look at that in the next memory. When Ganondorf attacks the border with stampeding Mulgara, Rauru immediately steps up to repel the threat. He's confident, he steps directly into that role as a leader, and once again, he offers a solution to the problem. And with help from Sonia and Zelda, he... You know what, it's better to just show you. Roll the clip.
Hyrule will bow down before me.
Molduga are approaching our position!
It's more than we thought! It's a swarm!
There are so many of them! But why would they... That blast wiped out all the Molduga!
How is that possible?
So brute force will not be enough. The secret stone of the Zonai. How interesting.
Yeah, he does that. Though he was bolstered by his wife and adopted daughter, he's clearly very powerful. Divinely so even. Like Zelda, he has a sacred power that dispels evil, reinforcing the image of a god and king. Back in the tutorial, he even outright states that he's the one that put the fragments of light into the shrines in the first place. This cutscene is also the first time we see him open his third eye, and it does so right before he outright obliterates several dozen of a creature that most players don't even want to see, let alone fight. Speaking of confidence, it's ultimately what becomes his undoing. When Ganondorf comes before him, pretending to offer his loyalty, Rauru is completely aware of his deceitful nature, but believes it's smarter to keep him close, believing himself capable of handling whatever the Gerudo King might have planned. And it's this confidence, this hubris, that ends up taking everything from him. His wife, his people, and eventually his life. Ganondorf is a bastard, but he was right about one thing.
As for her, she is merely the first victim of your arrogance.
When Ganondorf kills Sonia, Rauru is completely distraught. Chris Hackney continues to bring his A-game, and we have no trouble hearing the heartbreak in his voice. I mean, just look at how he acts, running directly to Sonia's lifeless body, lowering her slowly to the ground even as an empowered Ganondorf stands before him, now with the greatest danger in the world. You can actually see it on his face when he snaps, his brow and ears twitch, his lips curl back, and he bares his teeth for the first time, revealing them to be a lot sharper than they otherwise seemed. He also opens his third eye again as he begins to rush his wife's murderer, something he only does 3 times in-game when he's about to unleash his power upon someone, and only barely manages to stop when Zelda calls out to him. You can see the struggle through his body language. He's barely resisting the urge to throw himself upon Ganondorf in grief-stricken fury. But ultimately, his nature as a protector wins out, and he throws up a shield that just barely allows them the crucial time they need to escape. Rauru isn't even allowed time to grieve, as the Demon Lord immediately begins to wage war in Hyrule. The pain must be crippling, but he still fights for his people. He gives the sages secret stones, despite the fact that his wife was murdered for hers, and when Zelda tells him that they're destined to lose the fight, he chooses his duty to his people and his faith in those around him over despair. He could easily have broken down or blamed her for not telling them what the future held before, and it would be completely understandable, given what he's been through, but he doesn't. He admits that he was wrong in how he chose to deal with the King of Thieves, and says that he finds hope in both Zelda and a future Link, and in the end, he sacrifices himself for that hope. Let's watch one more clip to see how it all ends.
Rauru and the sages outnumbered the Demon King and should have been able to stop him. However, the Demon King's power had grown far beyond anything we could have imagined. I was unable to withstand his strength. Our fight appeared all but lost. And then, Rauru. Committed himself to one final act.
That pride will be your downfall, Ganondorf! Don't be so smug. I know exactly what it will cost me.
Thousands of years will pass in the blink of an eye. You only delay the inevitable.
You're wrong. Years from now, someone will appear with the sword that seals the darkness. A swordsman with the power to defeat you. Link. Remember this name.
Rauru puts his faith in his allies one last time and seals Ganondorf at the cost of his own life, opening his third eye, his symbol of a natural-born king, for a third and final time. And he does so without regret or hesitation. To the very end, Rauru is selfless, faithful and kind, and even long after he's gone, his impact on the story can be felt. His words inspire Zelda's plan to revitalize the Master Sword. His blessings and sacred power drive the corruption out of Link's body, and the hope he instilled in the sages allows their descendants to take up the mantle and aid Link in the heart of the chasm at the very seat of the Demon King's power. And because of this, Rauru stays with us even though he cannot accompany us on our journey, and at the very end he reappears along with Sonia to save Zelda one last time, both founders channeling their powers through Link to free her of her dragonification. A true exemplar of characterization and design, Rauru edges himself into our hearts and minds one selfless act of kindness at a time. It also doesn't hurt that he's really fucking set. I really want to thank K-Space Prince Art for their help in analysing Rauru's character design. It was a huge help. I also want to thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my first foray into video essays. I'm working on a small follow-up because I'm an idiot who forgot something kind of important, so look forward to that if you like this sort of thing. Have a lovely night, day or midnight snack, and I hope to see you again.